Surveillance video captures the moments leading up to an officer-involved shooting in Greensboro. Hear from the woman who saw it all go down in her yard. Flames roaring inside a Winston-Salem home, the latest from the scene tonight.
Plus an update in the case against the former Wake Forest University coach charged in the college admissions scandal. Why a judge could drop the charges. We begin with Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson responding to calls for him to resign. The Greensboro native says he will not leave his office. This all stems from comments Robinson made at a Randolph County church back in June. He spoke about the LGBTQ+ community and explicit images in books available in some libraries. Since then, his office has received threats, many with explicit language. We want to warn you, the story we're about to show you includes mature and graphic content. Here's 2 Wants to Know's Kevin Kennedy.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson not backing away from recent comments.
When I stood in that pulpit on that Sunday and referred to filth, I was not talking about any person. I was talking about materials that are being presented to our children that are absolutely inappropriate.
These statements made back in June surfacing now.
There's no reason anybody anywhere in America should be telling any child about transgenderism, homosexuality, any of that filth. And yes, I called it filth.
At a news briefing in Raleigh this afternoon, the lieutenant governor sharing drawings from books he says are in some school libraries.
We're not calling any person filth. We're not calling anyone anything less than human. We're talking about materials, inappropriate materials.
Several members of the LGBTQ community calling for Robinson to apologize or resign. He did neither, doubling down on his past comments.
The message I'm going to leave you with is this. We are not resigning, and not only are we not resigning, we are not going to stop until the schools in North Carolina are safe from this kind of filth.
Those words and the ones previously spoken upsetting to Corey Hennessy.
Think about how you're hurting people, and think about the people that you're supposed to be protecting as a person in power in the political scene.
Hennessy is the director of education for the LGBT Center.
If you're going after the fact that you feel uncomfortable or that you think that these are adult themes, talk about all of it, not just the LGBTQI community.
The lieutenant governor saying it doesn't matter if the sketches and books at some North Carolina schools show 2 men, 2 women, or a man and a woman, calling it highly sexual. But the only images shown on this day are 2 men, or according to him, 2 boys. That doesn't sit well with Hennessy.
I absolutely don't believe that he is in the mindset of wanting to support the community.
Some calling his words hateful. Robinson defending his actions, also sharing what he says is hateful. An email and voicemail his office recently receiving. The N-word used several times. Here's the voicemail.
I would love to see North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson hanging from the highest tree. If he wants to call me and tell me why I am filth, I would love it.
For those hoping for some sort of a mea culpa, they didn't get it. Robinson vowing to continue his fight to rid schools of materials like this. Kevin Kennedy, 2 Wants to Know.
Now, those 3 books Robinson mentions are titled George, Lawn Boy, and Gender Queer, the one with the explicit images. Durham and Orange County schools say they each have 1 copy of the last book, but they're not part of curriculum. We asked Triad school districts if they have the books. Winston-Salem Forsyth told us today the only one available to students is George. The district says it's at 5 different schools approved for grades 4 and up, but it's also not part of any lesson plans in the classroom. Elements Burlington says none of the books are used in lessons, and it's looking into whether they're actually in libraries. We haven't heard back from Guilford County.